All right, happy Sunday, everybody. We'll get started here in a moment. Richard, Scott, Michelle, Alan, good to see everybody. Mike G, JC, Dave, New England Crypto, good to see you as always. RB. See Sally, Vinny. And they just finally lit up the LVMH building too. What's up, Doc 7? Pretty cool looking. It's supposed to start raining in like 10 minutes. So I do have the umbrella here just in case. We'll be checking out some of the holiday windows. It's a good shot of Steinway Tower. Billionaires Row. Hey, what's up, Carl Roth? Good to see you. Rocket Mob, Jackie, Jack Jackson, what's up? Good to see you. We'll get started here in a moment, everybody, but I think we'll just do our nightly audio and visual check. So if you guys can hear us. Also, we're streaming in 1080p. Just go ahead and give a thumbs up in the chat. We'll get started here momentarily. This is the corner of 5th Avenue and 59th Street. Right, I should say adjacent to the Louis Vuitton building, which is decorated as some sort of a bag or a luggage case. Looks pretty unique. Looks awesome. Just off to the right, you can see the Four Seasons Hotel in New York on Billionaires Row as well. Kimberly, what's going on? And here we have Trump Tower, as well as the Tiffany building. I told you guys I went into the Tiffany building for really the first or second time since they completed the renovation. It's really, really nice in there. You gotta check it out. You don't have to buy anything. You can just kind of go in and, check some stuff out. It's pretty cool. MD says the Four Seasons did it just reopen. I think it's reopening shortly. I don't know the exact date when it's going to reopen, but it's looking good. Yeah, New England Crypto. That's right. The Trump pump, so to speak. And a lot of big major market movements, particularly in Bitcoin over the weekend. I think we are now trading over 80,000. Pretty wild stuff, pretty amazing stuff that we've been witnessing from Bitcoin here. just over the last 2 weeks. Now, I believe the weekly candle is set to close at the highest weekly candle in Bitcoin history. This is going to be over $12,000 candle on Bitcoin, which is very fitting, right? Because we've been talking about this massive cup with handle pattern breaking out into new all-time record highs. So it's only fitting that we have a $12,000 weekly candle on Bitcoin. Middle Age Grinds is 81,400 now. Whew, crazy. Crazy stuff. I made a few posts today on X, formerly known as Twitter, just kind of, outlining our main thesis on Bitcoin. I mean, we've been talking about getting long Bitcoin since, my God. But I really do believe that this is just the beginning of the move, right? When you have these sort of breakouts, the velocity is monumental. And it has already. I should say one of the main catalysts is that Gary Gensler is probably going to get out of here. He's probably no longer going to be the SEC chair, which is very, very bullish for the space overall. That's number one. Number two, we now have all of these spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, which allows easier access for allocation for institutional investors, family offices, and the like. So on a clear blue sky breakout here, while you have all of those bull notes that we just talked about, coupled with nation states getting in here and adopting some sort of a Bitcoin standard, a Bitcoin reserve, and who knows, maybe even the United States will develop some sort of Bitcoin strategic reserve. MicroStrategy, which is now like a Bitcoin custody company, pretty much. I think you're going to start to see more and more companies gain an allocation of Bitcoin, and there's only going to be 21 million, so you do the math. In my view, within the next 10 years, if you just have one, right? If you just have one full Bitcoin, you're going to be in the top 1% of the 1% of the world, probably in terms of, not only in terms of net worth, but in just the amount of people who are going to be able to hold one full Bitcoin, right? The race seems to be on. Right? What's stopping other companies with all of their massive cash pile to convert some of that, at least a little bit, into Bitcoin? MicroStrategy's doing it. I think you'll start to see Microsoft and some of the bigger tech companies follow through. Tesla, as we talked about, hasn't sold a single Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and rumor has it that Elon will probably continue to ladder in here. So we'll see. Now, other catalysts, not necessarily, in and around Bitcoin, but more broadly. Last week we had the FOMC meeting, which we talked about at length. We had a 25 basis point rate cut by the Federal Reserve, which now makes 75 full basis points of cuts so far this easing cycle, which is pretty interesting when you think about it, because the United States of America is pretty much at full employment. We have inflation coming down in terms of the headline CPI, right? Continues to roll over month over month and a year over year basis. We have equity markets at new record highs. S&P 500 briefly over 6,000 last week. You have precious metals such as gold trading near highs. You have Bitcoin at 80,000 or whatever it is now, 81,000 probably as we speak. All while we are starting to shift from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing. So what do you think that means for the market? What do you think that means for asset prices? And what do you think it means for hard assets like gold, silver, precious metals, and digital assets, unconfiscatable assets such as Bitcoin? I think this is the market telling us that the Trump administration is going to go big on spending. I think the market was pricing this in well ahead of time, as we spoke about. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out over the next few weeks. But the markets are extended, right? I just want to, give a little bit of a forewarning. If you look at a daily action or a daily chart of the S&P 500, I mean, we've been gapping up, I think, 3 days in a row now. You even have a gap in the futures market. And usually the kind of rule of thumb on Wall Street is when you have gaps in the futures market, usually over time they'll fill. You'll probably have some back end filling here in the market, but it's pretty much like all systems go in that regard as we're kind of walking down by St. Thomas Church. But let's start to kick things off here. We'll see who we have in the audience. Once again, we're on 5th Avenue. We're going to head down to Rockefeller Center. I see Troy Atman is here. Good to see you. Reggie44 is joining us. Oh, Wise Owl, cheers. Professor Dario. RY, what's going on? Carl Roth. Peter says, how many Bitcoin have been lost due to people losing their keys? Forever lost. There was a guy in Britain who threw away his computer out of stupidity and wants to excavate the landfill. I feel like I've heard of that story, and now the government's not letting him excavate that site or something like that, so he's in some sort of a lawsuit with them. But that's a very, very good point by Peter. When you talk about, the scarcity, right, of Bitcoin, there's only going to be 21 million, ever mind. And rumor has it that Satoshi's wallet, right now, there's a really good website. It's called the Bitcoin Whale website. And that's actually one of the best things about Bitcoin is it's totally transparent. I mean, you could quite literally see the whale wallets, which wallets are owned by exchanges, which wallets have not moved any of their coins. And Satoshi's wallet is rumored, well, the theory is it's to have been lost. So those are taken off out of the supply totally. So, I mean, when you have all systems go here for institutions to allocate to this asset, for nation states to allocate to this asset, this breakout here out of this beautiful cup with handle pattern with all of those different fundamental tailwinds, I should say, right? Gary Gensler is probably going to be out of there. We're going to have the most pro-Bitcoin Congress in history, pro-crypto Congress in history. We're going to have an SEC chair that is going to be extremely pro-Bitcoin. More companies are going to adopt some sort of a Bitcoin standard by getting exposure to Bitcoin on the balance sheet. The United States of America, as we discussed, may come up with some sort of Bitcoin strategic reserve. So it's a really interesting time where the populace, you and me, we've been having the opportunity to front run really all these institutions, all of these nation states. And I think this move is just beginning, in my view. DC322 says Jerome Powell won't be going anywhere. And I think Jerome Powell's done a pretty good job with the kind of hand he was dealt. I tend to be a critic. Of Jerome Powell from time to time, but with the crazy hand that he was dealt, I think he's done a good job with what he's had. David says, how can something so valuable be backed by nothing? Seems sketchy. What do you mean by nothing? I don't know if it's not backed by anything. I mean, that's what mining is, right? That's what the whole mining network is. And see, I mean, that's another thing. There are so many people that still don't understand, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, I'm just making an observation just to kind of draw a conclusion. We've been writing about this for years and years and years. There's such a large percentage of the populace, not only in the United States but abroad, that physically don't even understand what Bitcoin is. They don't understand mining. They don't understand the value proposition of Bitcoin. They wouldn't even know how to set up a mining rig. They wouldn't know how to run their own nodes. Nothing, right? All while the price is $81,000 or whatever it is right now, right? It may break, 82 or whatnot. You're extremely, extremely early. Extremely, extremely, extremely early. So in the investment business, you're really trying to look for the biggest asymmetric risk profile possible, right? Which essentially means whatever I risk, my reward is going to be significantly, significantly more than I risk. And there's a terminology in the hedge fund business called crowdedness, right? So when everybody is on board on the same trade and when everybody agrees on something and when everybody says, yeah, this is going to be the greatest thing, the probability for an investor or trader to generate alpha diminishes significantly. It's when there's unknown, it's when there's conflict, it's when there's contrast in thinking, right? And people being argumentative when there's still alpha in the trade. So it's really unbelievable. Kind of the last thing I'll mention, if you're following me on the X platform, I posted a little bit of a thread on my X or my Twitter, and somebody sent me this video of a Joe Rogan podcast. There was some guy on, this was all the way back in 2022 when the FTX cryptocurrency fraud collapsed. Also 3 Hours Capital, or 3AC, which was the Singaporean-based crypto hedge fund that also went bust. And I remember the night it went bust, because I was on the phone with a couple of big hedge fund guys that run massive money for the crypto space, texting back and forth on calls, and we're like, this is go time, this is it. For those of you who studied markets, or I'll kind of take a step back actually and explain a little bit more, the excerpt on the Joe Rogan podcast was this guy that says, look, Bitcoin now is at 16,000. You just had FTX collapse, you just had this big hedge fund collapse, and now Bitcoin is being priced appropriately and it's going on its way to zero. If you study the market, if you study history, those are capitulation events, right? And you can look at my tweet that I made today, because I posted an infographic of a monthly chart of Bitcoin, and I said the FTX collapse and the Three Arrows Capital collapse marked the exact bottom for Bitcoin, right? Those huge liquidity events, when you have liquidation events, I should say, that is when panic and fear is at its height. And the market is designed to scare you out of opportunities. And the market is designed to bottom when the fear is at its fever pitch, right? When you see Sam Bankman-Fried, when you see everybody losing their money in FTX, when you see all of these investors, institutional investors losing their money in 3 Hours Capital, everyone kind of ditched the crypto and Bitcoin space, right? Including some of my really good friends. But that was really the time to buy bottom basement bargain Bitcoin prices, right? The last thing I'll say, and Jack Jackson, thank you for the support, I appreciate it. If you look at interest, retail interest in Bitcoin, if you just go to Google Trends, right? If you do a Google Trends search for Bitcoin, it's at all-time lows, right? While the price is at all-time record highs. That is extremely bullish. That means there is no irrational exuberance and there's no speculation in the market right now. Another thing that's really good about Bitcoin is you can actually look at on-chain transactions, right? That's the whole value proposition of a blockchain. You can quite literally tell who's buying, who's selling, what is the duration or the average duration of a holder, what is the average duration of a seller, and what we're seeing right now is the largest Bitcoin wallets, okay, the whales as kind of the industry terminology is, are continuing to buy and hold for longer durations, while people who may have gotten into, dabbling in Bitcoin in 2017 and then again in 2021, those accounts or those wallets have near zero exposure. So again, we're going into this dichotomy where the smart money is essentially accumulating all of the Bitcoin, while the lion's share of retail has virtually no exposure. That's the beauty of the blockchain, is because you could literally kind of call BS, right? If someone says, oh, I'm been buying Bitcoin forever, it's like, all right, what's your wallet address? We could look it up. We could see what the balance is, right? So it's so bullish, I can't even tell you how bullish that is. So you had ETF approvals, right? Not futures ETFs, not speculating on the futures contracts, but speculating on the spot, right? So if you buy IBIT, right, the iShares Bitcoin ETF Trust by BlackRock, when you purchase a share of that, BlackRock, the trading desk, they have to go in the market and buy Bitcoin. They have to have a one-to-one custody of that. So this is something to watch. We've been talking about this for a long time. This is a huge opportunity, But if you want to know a little bit more about like on-chain analytics, is what I like to call it. We're going to be writing a little bit about it in our newsletter on Thursday. If you want to sign up for it, you can scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and while you do that, I just got to wipe the camera lens. It's supposed to rain a little bit, so let me see if I could wipe the lens here. Anyway, we're looking at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. I'll try to put my mic on the jacket. Reggie 44 says Robinhood up over 8%. Hey, what's up, Chris? David says, hi, Tom. What do you think Trump can do specifically to lower the cost of living for the average Americans? What can Trump do specifically? I don't know. I mean, we kind of went over that. I'll say this. The election's over, and most things in life, Trump, Biden, Obama, Clinton, whoever you want to throw in there, they're not going to make your life easier, okay? They're not going to make your life better. To some extent they will, right, for like quality of life things, like cracking down on crime. But the lion's share of stuff is up to each and every single individual, right? So here's the way I think about it. The government's going to continue to spend money we don't have. The market is already telling us that. It is up to us to kind of develop a plan how to essentially combat our government stealing from us. So, because inflation is theft, right? When the government prints money, right, or spends money, the Federal Reserve has to print it to spend it. That is essentially stealing from the purchasing power of the average American, including me. So really the only thing that we can do is just invest accordingly, figure out how we can increase our income to combat it. But, you know, just to get a little bit raw here, Trump isn't going to save anybody. Biden's not going to save anybody. Harris isn't going to save anybody. Yeah, we can vote for the policies that we want, but at the end of the day, I'm not waiting on Trump to come save my life, right? I'm here to save myself. And the way we do that is just work as hard as you can, invest your money wisely, because regardless of what happens, you know, we shouldn't like kind of sit around and wait for Trump to make things better, Kamala Harris to make things better. You know, on the larger issues like kind of stopping the military-industrial complex from roaring, I think Trump will probably do that, but nobody's really going to come save us individually, if that makes sense. That's kind of my thing about it. So now that the election's over for me, I'm kind of going to tone down the political stuff because it doesn't matter for me anymore, right? Trump won. It is what it is. He was my pick to win, but it's business as usual, and that's it. That's really all I can say. Look, I made a fortune under Obama. I did really, really well under Trump, and I did the best I've ever done in my entire life under the Biden administration. And I think under the Trump administration, this new one, I plan to do even better. And it wasn't because of any of these politicians, it's just because of my own work ethic. So that should be the focus for every American. It's like, look, don't, if you wanted Kamala Harris to win, look, she didn't win. It's all right, it's not the end of the world. Don't get all depressive and don't, pout and get all pissed off and threaten to leave the country like George Clooney. Dig your heels in, go to work every day and try to make your life better. I mean, that's what the United States is about. The country's a lot bigger than one person. If you don't like Trump, you still have the opportunity to do really well in this country. Everyone did really, really well under pretty much every president. If it's, it's up to you. That's essentially what it is. All right, one more look at the Christmas tree here at Rockefeller Center. Hey, Jonathan Francis, what's going on? Cheers. Yeah, Hawaii says it looks windy tonight. It is kind of windy. It is quite windy. Jay, I don't have any thoughts on XRP. I'm not educated in XRP. I don't have any thoughts on it, unfortunately. But I don't know. Because the news cycle, there's a big drop in advertising revenue for the news, especially like Fox News, CNN after the election. So they're going to need to kind of kick something else up to get people to watch, because the ratings are going to go even lower than they already have. Really, the only thing I could say is I just advise people to really just tune it out. The main big event of the election is over, and just time to get to work. Just put everything aside. It is what it is. If you're happy with the outcome, 2 thumbs up. If you're not happy with the outcome, just say, meh, whatever, and just go back to work. That's kind of what I did when Biden won. But the media is going to, depending on who you watch, if you watch The View or you watch Rachel Maddow, they're going to try to convince you that your life is over because Kamala Harris didn't win. Right? They're going to try to convince you that you have no opportunity and that you have no shot to be successful under a Donald Trump administration, which is total horseshit. Right? And it's horseshit if it was the inverse, right? If Kamala won, you would have Fox News saying the world is over, the country's over. That would have been bullshit too. This is the greatest country in the world. There's so much opportunity here. It's almost nauseating. And just get after it. That's really the only thing I could say. So, and that's the truth. That's the God's honest truth, by the way. What do you guys think of the ice here? This is the main ice skating rink at Rockefeller Center. I can't wait until we're doing these streams with the lights on the tree. Speaking about, irrational exuberance. Oh, man, I hope that guy's all right. This guy right here just took a big fall. I think if you don't know how to skate that well, you should probably, hold on to the wall. Damn. But here's one thing I will say, and this is anecdotal, but it's also true. When the market is really, really rocking, right? Both equities or Bitcoin or whatnot, right? When everything is really ripping, I even notice, me personally, a massive, massive uptick, not only in viewership on this channel, but in the amount of text messages I get, the amount of emails I get to my email box, friends and family who I haven't talked to in years start coming out of the woodwork and texting me saying, hey, what should I buy? Should I buy this? Should I buy that? What do you think? What do you think? And what I think is, if you're going to be in the investment business for the long haul, you got to be in it when things suck. You got to be in it when it's a really, really harsh bear market. You can't just come out of the woodwork when things are really good, because you'll have missed the meat of the move. So for most, I think as a seasoned investor, whoever you talk to that's a seasoned investor, they'll kind of tell you to pick up on those slight social cues, right? When nobody is interested, and I think we could use Japan as a prime example. If you look at the percentage of ownership of equities across the board in Japan after the 1989 Nikkei 225 top, the share of individual investors, or you just consider retail investors in Japan, that had exposure to equities, it's been dropping through the floor. Only now, right? Only just now are Japanese individual investors starting to increase their exposure to equities. And this is when the Nikkei is just now getting back to its previous record high set in 1989, right? So it's all about duration, it's all about patience, and it's all about avoiding what I like to call the shiny object syndrome, right? You see one investment that's going up, you want to chase that, right? Ask about it, you want to get it about it, and then you want to buy it. Then it'll go down in price, then it'll go through a bear market, which is totally normal. Then you'll tune out, and then you'll chase the next shiny object, right? The most important thing you could do as a person, an investor in anything, is chill out, try to keep your emotions in check, and stay in the game through duration, right? Long, long swaths of duration. One of my favorite charts of all time is the net worth chart of Warren Buffett. I think he had a $1 million net worth at the age of 30, and now he has a multi-billion-dollar net worth at whatever he is, I think almost 90. But he made 90% of his money in the last third of his life, right? I mean, talk about duration, right? And we also talked about, you know, my the conversation that I had with one of my friends who is a former BlackRock PM for some huge family offices, some of the oldest family offices in the country, where he was telling me the clients have a zero cost basis on some of these stocks, right? A zero cost basis on ExxonMobil, a zero cost basis on JP Morgan, right? Zero cost basis on DuPont. So the name of the game, generally, if you want to be successful in the investment business, is you have got to stay engaged forever, right? Through duration, not just when Bitcoin is ripping through 80,000, not just when the S&P 500 is hitting 6,000. You got to stay in it, right? And that takes a lot of focus and a lot of grit. So it's just an interesting observation, because really over this weekend, my email box has really started to blow up. My text messages have really started to blow up from friends and family I haven't spoken to in a long, long time, asking me about stocks, asking me about Bitcoin just now while everything is kind of ripping through all-time highs. So just kind of keep that in mind as the euphoria starts to set in here, and be cognizant of that, right? I think that's a very, very important, very, very important data point there. All right, guys, enough stock talk. Look at how beautiful Radio City Music Hall looks tonight. Oh, do you guys want to see something awesome? Hold on, let me stand over here so I could show you guys something amazing. Now, I always talk to you guys about, what is it called? I always talk to you guys about the Sherry Netherland Hotel. For those of you who don't know, one of my favorite investing books of all time is Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. based on the life of Jesse Livermore. You guys want to see the inside of the Sherry Netherland? Here, I'll show you. Give me 1 second. Check this out. This is the lobby of the Sherry Netherland Hotel in New York. I was there today. I have a buddy who's in town who's staying at the Sherry Netherland. And this was the first time I've been in there in a long, long time. It's such a beautiful hotel. If you're visiting New York City this holiday season, you could walk in the lobby. They're very nice. It's private. They'll commandeer you and ask you why you're there. But it's just really, really beautiful. It's one of the most gorgeous hotel lobbies I've been in New York. It's so classic, and Jesse Livermore used to walk right through these halls. So anyway, I thought you'd perhaps enjoy that. So if anyone is planning a trip to New York City this holiday season, maybe just take a quick walk around the lobby of the Sherry Netherland. It's an awesome hotel. Now, speaking of hotel lobbies, I was taking a stroll past the Plaza Hotel today, and they are just putting up all of the Christmas decorations in the lobby. They're hanging up the Christmas wreaths all along the outside, and the same thing can be said. Hold on, I got to open up the umbrella here. The same thing can be said for the St. Regis and what's it called? The Peninsula. So I think in the next week here, we're going to be seeing some pretty awesome stuff for the holidays. Anyway, Shane Football Life, good to see you. Thank you for your very generous and kind $2 donation as the rain starts to fall here in New York. Sean Alexander says, hey Tom, what are some of your all-time favorite restaurants in New York City? That's an awesome question. I'm going to give a few restaurant names I don't think I've recommended before. And the first restaurant I'll name is actually in Brooklyn, New York. But you've got to try this place when you come to New York. And when you go there, send me a text message because my good friend owns the restaurant. It's called Tong, Tong. It's in Brooklyn, New York. It earned a Michelin star. It's Thai food. It's Thai cuisine. And it's some of the best Thai food I've ever had. And a good friend of mine owns it. So if you ever want to go there, you could write it down, maybe bookmark it on Google Maps. It's a little bit of a hike to get there, but I can assure you that it is 100% worth it. So Tong, really good Thai restaurant in Brooklyn, New York. It's the same owner as Sen on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's really good. This is the main entrance to Radio City Music Hall, right here on West 50th Street. But we're now going to head down to 34th Street, Herald Square, and check out the Macy's. But I think we're going to have to head over to Fifth Avenue because we're going to hit a massive buffer zone here. Let's see if I can get you guys a quick look inside. This is the main lobby at Radio City Music Hall. It's quite nice here. Shane, thank you so much. Yes. So I'm going to go down Fifth Avenue, and then I'm going to cut back over to 6th, and then we'll be able to see the World Trade Center. So there's just, for whatever reason, the internet doesn't work on the south side. Jonathan from Florida says, I saw the Rockettes perform twice in Atlanta and Nashville. Great show. Wow. You got to come to New York and check him out here. I think last night was opening night for the Rockettes. Hey, Nina, what's going on? Good to see you. It's Jordan. What's going on? Spider Blaze says, can you see my question in all caps? I cannot, unfortunately. We have 270 Park. Andrew, sorry to repeat, but the newest All In podcast is a must listen. I'm going to check it out. What specifically was the most interesting topic of conversation from that All In pod? That's the podcast with Chamath, David Sachs, Friedberg. I've tuned out a little bit. I haven't been watching as much All In Pod as I used to, just because it's turned into too much bickering about the election. But now that the election's over, hopefully they'll kind of go back to more tech talk, Silicon Valley, things like that. All right, here's one more. Look at the Rockefeller Center tree. Sean says, have you ever eaten at Ruby Rosa in Nolita? Highly recommended. I haven't, but I will check it out. I just ate at this place in Soho. I think it was called the Odd Sisters. Odd Sisters or something like that. It was really, really good. That's a great place. David says, when am I back in Miami? I will be back in Miami the day after Thanksgiving, actually. Bill says, howdy, Tom. Good to see you. Cheers, Bill. Joel PM is joining us. Always a pleasure. In terms of, we talked about, a lot of defense contractor stocks. The one thing that's kind of getting me a little bit nervous here, it's been very, very good for Palantir shareholders as Palantir rips into a new all-time record high, breaking out of a stage 1 base. But are we seeing just a pan rally across the board in the market? Or could we chalk this up to specific sectors are probably going to outperform others during a Trump presidency? The reason why I bring up Palantir specifically is because they do a lot of work with the U.S. military, and one of the biggest promises by the administration is kind of dismantling the military-industrial complex, if you will. But if you have, such strong movements in Palantir and the like, is that the market telling us that that's probably not going to happen? Now, from my understanding, Palantir is more of a preventative measures. I guess you could categorize them as a contractor that's more of a preventative style company, as opposed to like a Raytheon or a Grumman that makes, military planes and weapons and other things. But I don't know. I think it's one to watch. That was another stock that broke out on really, really strong volume. Hey, what's up, Tux Brown? The stock market and market bubbles in particular can lead to more general economic bubble in which a regional or national economy overall inflates at a dangerously fast clip. Well said. Well said, yeah. Now, Tux Brown, to your point, right? What's interesting is, obviously we've all heard the news. Last week was the FOMC meeting. We got a 25 basis point rate cut on top of the other 50 basis point rate cut. So now we have 75 basis points worth of cuts this easing cycle, all while we have GDP estimates for next year for the United States higher. We have corporate profits at pretty much all-time record highs, and we have full employment in the United States. So it's quite interesting, right? Speaking about, having things being overheated, is the Federal Reserve kind of throwing gasoline on an already hot market, being that what we just talked about, full employment, equity markets at all-time highs, precious metals at all-time highs, home prices, the median home price in the United States is above $400,000 for the first time ever. Is this an appropriate time to start cutting interest rates? That's the question. What do you guys think? It's also interesting that the bond market is saying the exact opposite of what the Federal Reserve is saying. Right? The bond market is selling off aggressively, sending yields skyward. Right? The yield on a 10-year U.S. Treasury is 4.35%, something like that. And mortgage yields are higher now than before all the rate cuts. Jason says BTC to 150K soon. Denise Clark. Hey, Denise. Welcome to New York City. I'll give you guys one quick look at Saks Fifth Avenue. Reggie 44 says debt warning from bonds. Tomahawk, good to see you. TK Porsche, in my opinion, look for the defense budget to be increased, but more focused on acquiring new technology, weapons, and much less spending on funding foreign conflicts. That's an interesting point, and I haven't thought about it that way. So what you're saying is, you think that under the Trump administration, we're going to be spending more on our military, but it's just going to be in different ways, as opposed to like funding proxy wars and things like that. So more preventative, more kind of just beefing up our military, but not, soliciting money and funneling money across the world to fund these proxy wars. Interesting. I mean, look, we'll see. It's yet to be known. Nobody knows. We could all have our opinions. I think that probably may happen, but you never know. Man, the rain is really starting to pick up here now. Oh, that was one of the new Ford Mustang Mach-E's. In my opinion, that's the only EV electric vehicle, to me, that competes with Tesla. The new Ford Mustang Mach-E. Those things look awesome. I think the NYPD bought a significant amount of them. Reggie 44 says peace through strength. Agreed. Like I said, I believe we need to lead from the front. And if the United States isn't leading from the front, and if our leader isn't somewhat feared by... Is this guy going to go? It may sound counterintuitive, right? But when you have somebody that's, like a hard ass, times are usually more peaceful. So far it seems like a lot of these world dictators and, terrorist organizations are starting to come around already, saying, hey, let's kind of talk about a ceasefire in Israel. Let's kind of talk about, how we're going to end the war in Ukraine. And look, for everybody's sake, let's just pray to God that all these wars stop. We spoke about this the other night. And I really have a different perspective on military intervention just over the last 5 years. And the reason why I say that is because one of my really good friends, one of my best friends from college, is in the Special Forces. So when we all left college, he went into the Air Force and he became a TACP, which is, the acronym is TACP. And he's been shipped off to all these foreign places. He's actually in Africa right now, dealing with some sort of terrorist group. And it's easy for someone who's not in the military, like myself, right? I've never served my country in the military, to kind of say, yeah, let's go get him. Let's take the fight to him. Yeah, let's, knock out Russia and wipe out Russia and annihilate. Or, let's plow through and just take everything in the Middle East. But when you really, really think about it, these are like people our age, right? Early 20s that are being quite literally put in a meat grinder in Eastern Europe right now. And nor Zelensky nor Putin gives a shit. Okay, don't kid yourself. It's not their kids going to fight. They're essentially sending their populace to be mutilated for their own kind of sadistic egos. And now they're even getting North Korean troops involved. And if you think that Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin cares about one single North Korean troop that's going to be slaughtered, because they're all going to die, right? Every single North Korean troop that's going to get sent to the front lines to fight in Ukraine, they're all dead. I mean, they're signing a death wish. They don't care about those people. So if we can have a strong leader, right, come in here and at least try to talk some sense into these dictators to say, look, we're not doing any of these wars anymore. Okay, all of this stuff is coming to an end. That's more than worth it. And especially after all the stuff that's come out that we've learned about what happened in Iraq, just a total fraudulent war. There were never any weapons of mass destruction. Tons and tons of young men and women, American men and women, went over there and died, all because we had essential warmongering neocons that were getting kickbacks from the military-industrial complex. So I've really shifted my focus on voting for peace. And if that means I have to put somebody in there that may make a couple of mean tweets or may say some stupid stuff, to save, hundreds of thousands of lives of young men and women in Eastern Europe or in the Middle East, that's what we should do. So my fear is that hopefully the, big defense contractors of the world don't try to pull some crazy stuff, and I think we'll leave it there. And kind of making it a little bit of a positive twist here, and kind of bringing it back to the financial markets. If you think about some of these social media platforms like X, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the world, I would really say post 2004, is so connected, right? We didn't have social media during 9/11, right? We didn't have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, live streaming. We had none of that back then. So in my belief, it was easier for our government and our politicians to manipulate us, to lie to us, to get us involved in foreign conflicts for their gain. It's very difficult for them to do that now, because all of this can be exposed on X. All of this can be exposed on Facebook, right? There's the democratization of information, I think, has been the biggest blessing of the internet. That's my honest take. So I really do believe that the best is yet to come for the world. And I think people are waking up. It's going to be increasingly more difficult to get the populace to support either declaring war on another country or fighting a pointless war for the neocons, just because the access to information is just instantaneous, right? It's easy to deceive us. It's easy to lie to us in 2001 and 2004. It's near impossible to do that now, right? I think everybody broadly knows that, this war that's going on in Eastern Europe, it's such a tragedy. It's like beyond a tragedy. What's going on? And I think the death tolls are undercounted in Ukraine. So the sooner we can bring that war to an end, the better. We shouldn't have one more Ukrainian soldier dying. We shouldn't have one more Russian soldier dying on the front lines. And if that means we need to build some sort of a, demilitarized zone like we have between North Korea and South Korea, I say we do it. Because that war is it's just such a meat grinder, man. And it's so sad. You're just sending these people to their death. It kind of reminds me of World War I, and I said this before. When I was studying World War I, and Shane, thank you so much for your $2 donation. I will get you over to the H&M building. I'm going to get you to the H&M building. I'm going to get you to the World Trade Center. I promise that. Appreciate you. But if you think about, what happened in World War I with the trench warfare, you had hundreds of thousands of people dying and fighting over pretty much no land. 50 yards, 100 yards of land, and people just getting slaughtered. And I think that needs to end, in my view. So, hey, what's up, Boundless Bam? Cheers. Welcome to a very rainy night in New York City. Bethy says, are you near the cathedral? So we just walked past it, actually. So St. Patrick's Cathedral is right across the street from Rockefeller Center. Right now we're looking at the beautiful Chrysler Building, which looks amazing in the rain. And then if we point the camera a little bit further up, you can see One Vanderbilt. I know, Josie says, Tom, first time we got rain in almost 2 months. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. Sunshine After Rain is joining us. Welcome. Hawaii Tomahawk. Melissa 2087. SL is here. Good to see you, SL. The Daniel J says, Elon Musk should get a Nobel Peace Prize for saving freedom of speech. Jim Rickford says Howard Stern for president. Let me scroll to the top. Rocket Mob Town Now, what's going on? All right, let's make a little bit of a U-turn here. We'll get one awesome shot. Look at that. Madison Avenue sign with Chrysler Building in the distance. Let's go in front of Grand Central Terminal. Hey, Connie Ruiz. Joseph Hardaway, what's going on? Now, what are futures doing tonight, everybody? I was so busy, I didn't get a chance to check where futures were. Oh, by the way, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans. That's true. Someone says we need more rain. The fires made the air quality so poor. It's crazy. There was fires in Prospect Park, Brooklyn. There were fires in Jersey. It's terrible. Really terrible. Austin City Limits is no markets tomorrow. No, I believe the markets are open for Veterans Day. I think the market should be closed. I think the NYC should close for Veterans Day. Here we are right outside of Pershing Square. Wow, my favorite things to do says there were fires also in Connecticut. Yikes. Reggie 44 says IBIT up over 6%. Yeah, I mean, with the action this weekend in Bitcoin, you're probably going to see massive gapping in a lot of the Bitcoin related stocks. Obviously the Bitcoin ETFs, but you're also probably going to see MicroStrategy, MSTR, gapping up here pretty big. We'll see. Now, my concern with the S&P 500, if you look at the cash close on the S&P, it was very gappy, right? I feel like last week was like a euphoric kind of, mad dash scramble to position yourself for a new administration. It was very gappy last week. Let's take a detour inside, just so we can get out of the rain for a few moments. But this is Pershing Square. You can think about Bill Ackman's hedge fund. Hawaii, is the holiday market in Grand Central Station open yet? I'm not too sure, but let's check it out. We might as well check it out right now. Let me just try to close my umbrella. Oh my gosh. SL says Florida or New York for Thanksgiving. I'll probably be in New York. I always spend the holidays in New York. I think Hawaii. You know what's funny? I never even knew this existed here. Hey, what's up, Haitian Lobster? Greetings from Israel. Hope you're doing well, staying safe. What we're looking at now is the Grand Central Station Holiday Fair. Just a few months ago, there was this flying electric helicopter here. I think it's going to be a big partnership with Uber. It was like a $350,000 helicopter that's going to be able to take you to JFK Airport from Manhattan. Pardon our appearance, something grand is coming soon, November 11th to December 24th. Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sunday 11 to 6, Christmas Eve, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they are closed Thanksgiving. Let's see what they got here. Looks like it's going to be a lot of jewelry. Hey, Professor Dario, good to see you. Welcome to the inside of Grand Central Station. Dan McLaren says, hey Tom, what do you think about hate crimes going up against minorities during the Trump administration? I don't think there's any data to support that. I feel as if you have the fringe minority on both sides, but I work with Trump supporters, I work with Democrats, and I've never had a problem with either. And I have friends who are like ultra obsessive MAGA. I've never had an instance where they've talked down on anybody or discriminated against anybody. I think that's just all, I think if we turn off the news and just go out into the real world, like where people walk about, I've never once had a problem with anybody. Yeah, someone says stop watching MSNBC. I definitely agree. Particularly that show Morning Joe. I think that is the most, that show has probably lost all of its credibility. I was watching a little bit of an excerpt of the guy on Morning Joe with Al Sharpton saying that, you know, we need to start blaming Latino men and we need to start blaming, you know, black men because they didn't stand up to racism this election and they are sexist. And I think it's Scarsborough was his name. And he's like, we need to start admitting that Latino men are sexist. It's like, Joe Scarsborough, who the fuck do you think you're talking to, number one? Okay, you're a white guy. You don't speak for all Latinos. And just because the election didn't go your way doesn't mean Latino men are sexist. I mean, these people have such severe mental disabilities. It's just like embarrassing. Like, I don't even know how they come on TV and say this nonsense with a straight face. And I've never honestly never in my life once in the real world, right? And I've done millions and millions of dollars worth of business. I've dealt with black people, white people, Asian people, Latino people. I've never encountered this cartoon land that you see on mainstream media. I've honestly never encountered it once, and I live in the biggest liberal city in the world. I've done deals here, I've done deals in Miami, dealing with both sides of the political aisle. I've never dealt with these cartoon characters. It's only on the media because it's sensationalism bullshit. That's my honest opinion. And I think this election, you know, people are so fed up of being pinned against each other, right? People are so fed up with it. Most normal humans just get up and go to work every day like everybody else. They're not concerned about what race you are. They're not concerned about, you know, if you're a guy and you're sleeping with the guy, or you're a girl, you're sleeping with the girl. Nobody cares. I don't understand the infatuation with it over the last 5 years. It's like nauseating. It's so, and people are sick of it. And I think it's changing. At least that's how the American people voted. Nobody wants to be pinned against each other because of their race. Nobody cares. Everyone lives together, works together. I don't have a problem with anybody. I've never once had somebody come up to me and have a problem with me. In the real world, never. Now, people, you know, typing Twitter fingers online, of course. But in the real world, I've never experienced it, ever. And I think that's positive, right? I mean, who wants to be, you know, judged based upon their race or their sexuality? Nobody does. Guys, this is what you call the whisper wall. Oh, that's true. Tatted tees as well. That old lady had a problem with me last night. That's true. But that's, that's different circumstance. I know that's kind of funny, but she's, They sound really good. They're singing Christmas carols there. But yeah, this is the whisper wall. If you stand on one side here, you could hear the other side. TK Porsche, this is what they say about systemic racing on MSNBC. No, the media outlets does not comport with your everyday experiences in real life. I just think people want something to complain about, and people want something to... It's just very weird. I don't know. I don't have the answers to it. All right, we'll take one more look at the ceiling here. Look at how beautiful Grand Central Terminal looks. Hey, what's up, Rat Fink? Thank you so much for your very generous $10 donation. This is Hi Tom. Thank you for everything. Thank you. I appreciate you very, very much.
Don't fall for it. Watch the gap getting on and on.
This little black slab here, that's what the top of Grand Central Station used to look like. Hey, Alan, what's going on? This is Tom. You're definitely right. I've relegated myself to just consuming independent media. It's less BS, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully all this kind of stuff will die down. I think now that the election's over, this stuff will die down, but it's just, I think this cycle is just too crazy. I've just never seen craziness like this. And I think that's why people kind of shifted one way or the other. Like we heard, and I'm not just, picking a side, but, we heard that if Kamala won, she was going to be a communist dictatorship and that would be the end of free markets, which is obviously hyperbolic nonsense. But on the other side, you literally had MSNBC, running a special saying Trump is having a rally at Madison Square Garden, and this is the same exact temperature as the Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden. Totally unhinged, totally ridiculous, okay? We listened for 4 years to the mainstream media saying Trump was going to be literally Hitler, like literally Hitler. So when he won, you had Biden coming on the podium and you had Kamala coming on the podium saying, I'm going to concede the election and congratulations on your victory. Okay, so you knew it was bullshit. You knew what you were spewing for 4 years was bullshit. Would you ever concede an election to Adolf Hitler that killed 20 million Jews? Of course not. So it was all fake. It was all nonsense the entire time. Okay? So hopefully that now that this cycle is over, we can just move forward, and hopefully next election cycle won't be so turbocharged because, Trump won't be running again. Kamala probably won't be running again. And maybe we'll just have two perfectly normal candidates. But to take it to that level, to say, Trump is literally going to be a dictator, and that he is the same, if not worse, than Adolf Hitler, that was responsible for killing over 20 million Jews during the Holocaust, that is just like ridiculous brainwashing nonsense. So I'm glad that part of it is totally over. And that's dangerous, dangerous rhetoric, man. Anyway, let's head to Macy's. Let me just open up my umbrella. All right, let's get one shot of the Chrysler building. Let me just wipe my camera lens. Now, they're supposed to start construction on this building right next to Grand Central Terminal, but I'm not too sure when they're going to start. Hold on one second. So this beautiful shot of the Chrysler building is going to be blocked by this new building, unfortunately. And a little bit further down is the Pfizer, what's it called? The Pfizer building, which now is going to be home to the largest office to condo conversion. Well, I'll say largely office to apartment conversion in the city's history. Now, the current largest office to condo conversion is down in Lower Manhattan at 1 Wall Street. That's Harry McAlow's project. But the city's been making a lot of progress to work with developers, make it a little bit easier to get the zoning approvals to convert these offices that are no longer in use to apartments. And the cost of living in the city is so expensive. The only way that we're going to be able to take it down is by building more, more supply, basic supply and demand. So maybe when the weather gets a little bit better, we'll have to do some sort of standalone video at the construction site there, right outside of the Pfizer building. Yeah, Shane, so if you look dead centered on the screen, that's Salesforce Tower. That's Mark Benioff's company. Oh, and I think it's the Marine Corps' birthday tonight. I totally forgot about that. So I think they're having a celebration, or is it the Marine Corps' ball, I think it's called? Shout out to the Marine Corps. Wow, 249th anniversary ball. Very cool. And it's Veterans Day tomorrow. So thank you to all of our veterans in the chat. Shane, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to go up to the H&M building right now. And I will also go back to 6th Avenue so you can see the World Trade Center. Maybe we'll do one lap around Bryant Park to see the Winter Village. Someone says Joe Scarborough was a Republican. Oops, I lost your comment. Congressman from Florida. I don't care if he's Frosty the Snowman. The guy is crazy. And he stokes way too much fear. Stokes way too much fear. Very divisive guy. So, Republican congressman from Florida, Frosty the Snowman, Olaf, don't care who he is. He is nuts for saying what he says. He should be encouraging his viewers. It's all doom, fear porn. You know, people who encourage doom, they strip away the American dream from people because they don't... The American dream is all about belief. And if you believe that you can't make it here, you're correct. But if you believe you can, you can. Everyone has an equal opportunity here, right? So he should be reframing his conversations and encouraging his viewers. You know, not telling his viewers that they have no chance in America. They're never going to make it because of the color of their skin. It's sick. It's a sick, sick message that I want nothing a part of. The message should be, it doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. Doesn't matter what your sexuality is. If you're in America and you're ready to rock, you can be massively successful here. Nobody cares. The only people who care about the color of your skin is the media. Okay? And I've been in business at the highest ranks in tech, at the highest ranks in real estate here in New York City. Not once have I ever ran into these fictitious situations that the media claims to be. So America is the land of opportunity. It's always going to get better. And if you believe you can make it here, you can. That is a promise. Daniel J. says, Tom, have you ever worked with Trump? No, but I've lived in his buildings. And that's not, you know, hype nonsense that I'm saying. That is the God's honest truth. That is the God's honest truth. Doesn't matter if Obama is the president, Biden. These people aren't here to take away your freedoms like the media tells you they are. They're not. There's so much opportunity in this country. It's insane. And, you know, if you're following me on the X platform, the media had everybody at each other's throats while Bitcoin was rocking into new highs, while the equity market was rocking into new highs, and everybody missed the move because they had you distracted with Mark Cuban and his glasses on The View and all these other people arguing about politics. So don't get distracted, lock in, and the best is yet to come. That I could promise you. Look at this. Beautiful Christmas tree here. I think they may be getting ready to close because there's not too many people here. But if you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. And trust and believe that the best is yet to come. This is the lodge. So there's like a bar in here, restaurant. Let's actually go inside. Let me see if they'll allow me in here with the camera. Because I just want to show you guys kind of what is on display here. You can get like hot chocolate, desserts. I think you can even buy alcohol. Yeah, let me see. Let me close this. Let's see if they'll let us in. Man, it smells so good in here. So here's the bar. It's an awesome setup in here. It's called the Lodge Bar. What do you guys think? Hey, what's up, Christopher? Good to see you. This is a view of the ice skating rink. So you can just kind of grab a drink here and post up and take a look at all the ice skaters. I think they did an amazing job this year. Very similar to what it looked like last year, but this is awesome. Really, really awesome in here. Hawaii says I think they need to update their hours online because it says it closes at 8. That's what I thought. It feels like it must be like almost 11 p.m. But there's still people here. But Hawaii, when you visit New York this trip, you got to take a look at this place. It's a good vibe. It almost doesn't even feel like you're in New York City. This is hot chocolate for grown-ups. Hey, what's up, Alfredo? All right, got to get the umbrella back up. Hey, what's up, Ben? Good to see you. I think someone left their bag here. This is a cool shot because in the background you have the Stephen Schwarzman Building, New York Public Library. Hey, Cynthia Ava, what's going on? Yeah, Cynthia's is that lodge bar and cafe. It did look pretty cool. I've never eaten here, or really spent much time here outside of the stream. When I do come here, I go to that donut shop that's just across the way here. This is a good shot of the Empire State Building. Let's see what's new in Times Square. I haven't been there this holiday season, even though it just started. Hey, Susanna Q4 says, lovely, I'll be there in a week. Awesome, you're gonna love it. And the city's gonna look even better in a week. Today I was watching the Plaza Hotel put up the holiday lights, Christmas lights in the lobby too. Ooh, now it's getting windy. Oh, nice. Anaheim, California. Love that. Hey, what's up, Josh? This is Tom. I'm trying to get a job with JP Morgan Chase here in Texas. Was curious if the headquarters is almost done. Yeah, so you're probably talking about 270 Park. That's going to be the new JP Morgan office tower. I mean, it looks pretty much done. That's another like really, really exciting building. And I think Citadel just got the approvals to start on their new office tower on Park Avenue 2. Currently, they're in 425 Park as well as 350 Park. But yeah, that'd be awesome. If you got a job at JP Morgan, maybe you could spend like a week or two in New York, work from that office. I mean, it certainly does stick out in the New York City skyline. My office isn't too far away from it. It's a state-of-the-art building. I think it's going to be one of the most eco-friendly buildings in the city, right behind 425 Park Avenue. Ben says I live Miami Pine Tree Drive. Wow, I love Pine Tree Drive. I filmed a lot of walking tours there. My favorite is if you're driving down Collins Avenue, overlooking the water, and those are all of the homes on Pine Tree Drive. Kind of, you can see all their boats and everything. I'll be in Miami the day after Thanksgiving, so. This is the ball that they drop on New Year's. Ben says you filmed and looked at my house, and I said, I love that street. I wanted to come out and wave to you. Well, we had somebody come out and wave to us. What building was that? I forget the building. We were at South Point Park. I'm surprised we have a lot of viewers in Miami because I don't do too many live streams in Miami. But when I do, we always run into people. We always run into viewers. That's a really nice place down there. South Point Park, south of 5th neighborhood, the Smith and Walensky's. Such a beautiful, beautiful area. It's just the property taxes are getting crazy. I was looking at my statement, my escrow account statement, and my property taxes are now $8,000 a year. Hey Shane, thank you so much for your donation. Yeah, we do have the H&M building coming up right on our right. We're now in the thick of Times Square here. So you have the H&M building. You also have Bank of America Tower. And this is Times Square, 42nd Street. NQRW shuttled to Grand Central 1, 2, 3, and 7 trains.
Are we still trying to go?
I think 5 Times Square is completely vacant. That was the old EY. And now EY is at the Hudson Yards. Let me try to clean this screen. Since there's not a lot of people in Times Square tonight, we'll just kind of do one lap around the entire place. Pretty soon we're going to be walking around in the snow. Unfortunately so, I'd say. I know Peters has put the water repellent on the lens. I have it at the office, and thank you, by the way. I'm going to put it on probably when I get back. I totally forgot. This is headed northbound. We're going to cross 43rd Street. We're passing 3 Times Square. You have the U.S. Armed Forces Recruiting Station in the middle. Hey, Dan Sang, what's going on? This is Hey Tom, there's a new bubble tea place that opened in Flushing called Molly Tea. It takes like an hour wait online. Really? Hey, Dan, have you heard of that place? Hey Tea, H-E-Y Tea? They opened up a store in Flushing, and they also just opened up a place just north of Koreatown. That tea shop is awesome. Not sure if you've heard of it, but it's all natural ingredients. They didn't do any artificial flavorings. It's probably the best tea shop I've ever been to in New York. Hey Tea. Hey, Cosmo, what's up? Says Hey Tea is great. Dude, that place is amazing. I love that place. Just past the Hard Rock. And we're also going to pass Raising Cane's. I think we did an entire stream on the founder of Raising Cane's. This guy's like worth $8 billion. And I think for his senior year thesis in college, he had to draw up a business plan. And his business plan was essentially just chicken fingers. And his college professor said, probably not a good idea. Nobody's going to want to buy just chicken fingers. And then $8 billion later, it's been pretty successful, you could say. Hey, Mike Skate TV, what's up? So I've eaten Raising Cane's before, good food in Colorado. They opened up a place in Miami Beach, South Beach. Crypto memes is true story. I have a friend that was in class with him and his partner at ISU. Really? That's insane. That's an insane story. We have a very well-connected viewer base. One of you guys sent me an email. You were classmates with Dr. Kai-Fu Lee. Oh, I think that was Peter. What a small world that is. We were talking about, we did a whole segment on artificial intelligence, particularly in China. And I recommended this book called AI Superpowers by Dr. Kai-Fu Lee. And apparently Peter went to high school with him. Super smart guy. Really good book. I think he's coming out with another book soon.
That way? Yeah, let's go that way. Oh, look at the Lego stuff. Look at Lego.
Yeah, Dan thanks. Tom, can you believe that the bubble tea is a multi... Oh, you're trying to say it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now? Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I can see why it's very addicting. It's more of like an experience, right? It's sort of the same concept with the original vision of Starbucks. If you ever read one of Howard Schultz's books, it's not that they're just selling overpriced coffee, they're selling an experience, right? A third place. It's kind of similar with bubble tea. It's like an outing, almost. Gopher Hokies is not a fan of bubble tea. Well, if you've been to like a really good bubble tea shop, it's completely different than some of the fake ones, I would say. I usually just get, if I don't get a milk tea, I usually just get like regular green tea or like oolong tea. Very good. Cosmo, because you like jasmine green tea. I've had it, it's good. Now, you know what's another trendy place that I've never been to, but it was so popular when it just opened in New York? I think there's a location right here. Jollibee, is it called? I think it's I forget where it's from. Has anybody in the chat been to that chicken place, the fried chicken place called Jollibee? That opened, I want to say 2 years ago in New York. There's a location in Times Square. Ah, the Philippines. Yeah, you're right. Cynthia Ava, Philippines. How is it? I've never been to it. It's extremely, extremely popular. All right, let's head back to the office now. This is the Crown Plaza, or the Crown Plaza Hotel. It's above the Krispy Kreme. Hey, what's up, Bill? Now, it's going to be interesting to see where Tesla opens up tomorrow. Because Tesla looks about primed to make its run at new record highs. I'd say it's corrected in the appropriate both time and duration. Anybody stay at the Crown Plaza Hotel? I know Cosmo Scary says Elon is about to be a trillionaire. It's insane. I was thinking about this the other day, to Cosmo's point. Like, the world is so massive. The global economy is so massive that we have one person that's about to have a net worth of $1 trillion. So if you think about like your own personal goals, right, and we're just talking like in a monetary sense, the economy is so big, right, that if you were just to take $1 million out of the economy for yourself, it wouldn't even be like a small, minuscule rounding error in the grand scheme of things in the economy. That's how much opportunity is out there, right? So anything's possible. So if you have a goal of, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, it's so attainable here. It's so attainable. The economy's big enough for it. The economy is going to continue to grow. Ooh, what is this? I think this is not good stuff we're walking in. But just to put it in perspective, it's like the opportunity's out there, man. And the good thing is we all get to share in the prosperity of these companies, right? The largest companies that provide the most earnings power, by and large, are publicly traded, right? And they're all in the S&P 500. So we are all mutually benefiting from this, right? From the advancement in civilization, from the advancement in technology. It's a group effort, and we get to benefit from that, which is awesome. So chances are, anybody who has, retirement accounts, most people have some sort of exposure to the S&P 500. Over the last 10 years, it's been really, really good, right? America's greatest companies have been churning out record profits, have been scaling, unbelievable, and I think that'll continue throughout our lifetimes, right? the advancement in technology only accelerates. The speed of adoption, the speed of acceleration continues to go faster and faster and faster and faster. Oops. Andrew says, did I make it to a Rangers game yet? Not yet. I haven't made it to a Rangers game yet, unfortunately. I know, professor's like coffee time. I may grab a coffee the next time when I head down from the office, for sure. See, for me, it's weird. If I drink coffee late at night, sometimes it has the inverse effect. It'll actually make me go to sleep. Grant Rant says, do we think the massive layoffs are behind us with the tech companies? Well, I think what you've really seen is a year of efficiency, right? A lot of companies suffer from corporate bloat, but in the private sector, they're a little bit more efficient with dealing with that bloat, right? In the government, public sector, where you're not that efficient with dealing with that bloat. And you'd be surprised. I think, at most companies, there's a lot of duplicity within the organization. You have a lot of overlap in jobs, a lot of corporate bureaucracy and hierarchy. So trimming that fat, so to speak, is very, very good. Oh, Troy Atman, I saw that. Yeah, UFC 309 is this weekend at Madison Square Garden. Maybe I'll go. I'll check it out. I don't know if I can go, actually, but I think it would be cool. Somebody told me that watching the UFC is a better experience when you're not in person. I don't know if that's true or not, but just as a quick reminder, everybody, this Thursday, I'm going to be sending out our next issue of our Behind the Street newsletter. We're going to be covering a lot. We're also going to be doing some post-analysis in some of these leading stocks. We're going to be talking about Tesla. We're going to be doing a complete post-analysis in Bitcoin, and we're going to send that out on Thursday. So if you want to check it out and read it, it's completely free. You could scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, or you could just type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, and it'll bring you to our Substack. If you like the streams, if you like these live shows, the best free way to support the broadcast is by subscribing to our investor letter. And if you enjoy it, feel free to share it with your colleagues, friends, coworkers, because we have some pretty interesting stuff planned for 2025 that you're not going to want to miss as we're standing here at Radio City. Let's walk up by the Neuberger Berman. You almost can't even see Steinway Tower. That's how crazy cloudy it is tonight. You could barely make out Steinway Tower. This is Brooks Brothers. Anyone here a fan of Brooks Brothers? Hey, what's up, Steve Gonzalez? Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Let me just get the QR code off the screen. Yeah, Cosmo, you're right. I mean, we haven't seen rain. It really feels like forever. I don't really remember the last time we had rain in New York. So even though it kind of sucks walking around in it, it is much needed. This is Neuberger Berman, which is 1290 Avenue of the Americas. I can't go into too much detail on this, but I was doing some work, and we may do some work with, well, how could I put this? I didn't know, but the Trump Corporation owns this building. I think that it's a co-ownership with Vornado and the Trump Corporation. I had no idea. Right at the Neuberger Berman building. Absolutely had no idea. There's Charles Schwab on the right. This is the skinniest residential apartment building in the world. We'll walk right past the Plaza Hotel. You guys could probably see the first look at the Christmas lights at the Plaza. Ben says, I work for Charles Schwab in San Francisco. Now, Ben, I don't know if you've read Charles Schwab's book. Very, very good book. It's the complete history of how he built the company into the empire it is today. And I kind of draw a little bit of similarities from reading that book. I'm actually going to probably have to reread it to what's going on now with Robinhood. Even though I'm not a big fan of Robinhood, as you guys know. But I think it's important to pay attention. Charles Schwab was the discount broker dealer of the decade that really disrupted Wall Street. And whether I like it or not, it seems like that's what's happening with Robinhood. Right? Monster amount of net inflows. It seems like they are doubling down on crypto and crypto trading, and that's what a lot of the young kids like to do. So, skating to where the puck is going, so to speak. That's kind of what Robinhood is doing. So this is, what is the name of Charles Schwab's book? I think it's just Schwab. If you just go on Google and quite literally type in Charles Schwab book, it's the one with the big picture of Charles on it. Mark Francis is there, my discount broker. Here, one more shot at Steinway. Beautiful view. Such a unique building. Pretty soon, before you know it, we're going to be watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade coming right down 6th. Hey, what's up, Chris B? Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Also, I've said it before, but tomorrow is Veterans Day. So thank you to all of our veterans. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it very much. That can't be overstated enough. So thank you to all of our veterans. Mike G says, interesting. I worked for Schwab in Indy when their trading software was on dial-up. Oh my God. That's crazy. Now, one of my buddies used to trade in the pits in Chicago, and he was talking about how he had to adapt from pit trading to, just trading electronically. And I commented on his post, and I was like, you know what? I kind of wish I was born a little bit earlier to have been able to experience that. It's kind of a bummer that I'll never be able to experience that in person, right? Floor trading, like at the New York Stock Exchange, in the pits, that's really all, it really doesn't exist anymore. Everything is computerized and digitized. The floor of the New York Stock Exchange, by and large, is just a television studio. Now, there is market making, obviously, that takes place on the floor, but you can't compare it to what it was, like at all. Ben says your body thanks you for not experiencing that. Sometimes I watch old YouTube videos of like journalists documenting all the craziness in the pits. Must have been a wild, wild experience. See, because I grew up in the age of the internet. Right, I've always had the internet to, especially in terms of trading and investing. It's always been, discount brokerages, the Robin Hoods of the world. Hey, what's up, Joey? Good to see you. Daniel J says lots of cocaine in those pits, I can imagine. Ben says go watch Robert Downey Jr. Video on the pits and it'll change you. I think I've seen that. Is that the one where he's like, this is the biggest group of idiots I've ever seen? Is that the one? .220 Central Park South looks so amazing tonight. Kind of looks like we're in the Dark Knight Rises movie. Just off to our right is 50 Central Park South. This is the Ritz-Carlton. This is my favorite neighborhood right here. I think by far Central Park South, there's nothing like it. If you can get a place here, if you could either buy something or rent something with a Central Park South address, there's honestly just nothing in the world like it. It's freaking awesome. Being able to come out, Central Park is pretty much your backyard. It's fantastic. Let me try to wipe the lens. Jay, this is Tom. If you could live in any apartment in the city, what would it be? It would either be 157 West 57th Street, or it would be 15 Central Park West. Either one of those. So 15 Central Park West or 157. So 157 was the first building constructed on Billionaires Row by Extel. And it was also Park Hyatt is inside 157. But yeah, I'd say those two. This is the Park Lane Hotel. It's actually not too bad. This is 30 Central Park South. This is the R train, well, N, R, and W trains. Fifth Avenue Station, but guys, you're gonna get the first ever look at the Christmas lights at the plaza. You can kind of see they're already up.
These guys, they don't even know who we are.
Jace, are you a fan of the full floor Central Park Tower floor plans? Not really, to be honest. I like 157 better. That's just my view. If I had a choice, you can kind of see they're putting them up right now. If I had a choice between a full floor unit at 157 or a full floor unit at Central Park Tower, I would choose 157. You can kind of see they're putting the lights up now. Tomorrow we'll be able to see it a little bit better. They probably have almost already finished the inside too. This one's gonna go up. This is a true behind the scenes look. Wow, look at all the Christmas wreaths here. It looks like there's going to be one at every window. Look at that. That's cool to watch them put it up, right? They're hoisting it up with this rope. All right, everybody. Well, I think we'll call it a night. This was a fun stream. It's cool to see the behind the scenes look at all these major hotels and all the major shops putting up the Christmas decorations. So if you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. Once again, we will be sending out our free investing newsletter on Thursday. We're going to be covering a lot. We're at the tail end of earnings season here. We're going to get NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the last company in the Magnificent Seven to report. That's going to come up later this month. But so far, so good for earnings season in America. So Black Ribbon, thank you so much. New England Crypto, Ben, Hawaii, all of our moderators. Mohammed, appreciate it. Donna, Unij23, Reggie, Chloe. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Have a prosperous and successful week. And we will see you all tomorrow night live at 8:45. Take care.